how to go from a buyer's agent to a listing agent in real estate. And why would you want to do that in the first place if you didn't already know? Well, if you're new to the channel, my name is Tyler Roicki. I help people build income and wealth in real estate, and I run an international real estate team at eXp Realty. If you get any value whatsoever out of this video, all I'd ask is that you hit that subscribe button so that I can continue to share more tips and resources with you in the time ahead. That being said, let's dive into the video. So first, before I share actually 6 different things that you could be doing to generate more listings, at least setting the foundation of what can and will be a substantial listing business if you go about it the right way. Let's clarify, why would you want to get more listings if you didn't already know, right? So put simply, more control of your income, more control of your time as well, and more to lead flow. So to break it down, if you control the inventory, you control your own income. There's a lot of talk, a lot of concerns about what's happening in the courts with buyers agencies, commissions, transparency regarding that. Well, a lot of that stems from what's happening for buyers agents compensation and how that process has been gone about, really up to this point in time. But the thing is, if you're the listing agent, you're taking the listings, you control the inventory, you really control your own income, and there's not really a situation where it's subject to what another agent, another person secured with their client. So, you are in control. Why not control your own income and ultimately be the one taking inventory to market? 2, you can take and close 3 listings for every buyer you work. And those numbers will vary slightly agent to agent, but all that alludes to is, hey, let's say it took you 30 hours on average, start to finish, from procuring a buyer, showing all the houses, making the offers, and ultimately getting the finish line. Say that on average it took you 30 hours to do that for one buyer. On average, it should take about a third of that. It should take about 10 hours start to finish. Same thing with a listing. Like I said, it can vary slightly agent to agent, but whole idea is you can facilitate more business with the same time. If you have big goals, big dreams, you will meet your capacity far more quickly on the buyer side versus the listing side. You could handle a heck of a lot more listings in a year than you could potentially buyers. And 3 is listings market themselves to get you more buyers and listings. All else equal, if you could take on business, the best case scenario, you get some word of mouth. But on the flip side, another piece of business where same word of mouth exists, but also it markets itself to get you more clients. Which of the 2 would you have? Well, that's exactly what listings are. So even on top of the second point I just said, listings will help you generate more business, even though you can facilitate more listings in the same amount of time. So if you know that, why would you not spend all of your time generating listings instead of generating your next buyer? Because if you boil it down, buyers are worth a fraction of what a listing is, especially if you know the benefits of it. So question is, how do we get more listings? What activities will we need to do to put more listings in the pipeline? I've got 6 for you. I'm going to break it down, and the idea is to get you thinking and really pinpointing which of these methods and to what extent do you want to dive into to start filling your pipeline with listing opportunities. But regardless of which one you go with, expect that you're going to need to make a minimum of a 12-month commitment to putting in the time, energy, and your best effort towards each of these things. If you're not intentional with your time, setting aside and showing up in the right way when it's time to put that dedicated effort in, it's just not gonna play out the same way as for someone who really is intentional with the time and just makes it happen day in and day out like clockwork. So just understand, it's not a situation where you try this for a month or 2, don't see a result, and maybe switch. If you do that, you're probably gonna see little to no traction getting any listings versus someone who picks one, if not more than one of these, and just goes full force at it for however long it takes to see a result. But I'm just gonna say, hey, at least 12 months. It's gotta be at least 12 months. But first thing is active lead generation. What this means is you are going to prospect homeowners for listings. And the more targeted, the better. It's just higher likelihood that someone you're speaking with at that point is going to actually need your help. And for instance, that's forced sell by owners, It's expired listings, maybe canceled depending on the market you're in if there's not a current listing agreement in place and it came off the market. But otherwise, even homeowners that might be in a distressed situation could fall into a list. Non-owner occupied houses as well, even for rent by owners. But just think of any category where someone might be more likely than your typical homeowner to be interested in selling their home. And the key with active lead generation, more than anything else, a lot of people think it's the scripts. I'll tell you, it's the questions you ask. That's the key with it. It's all in the questions you ask. Asking the right questions will go the longest way as far as anything you can do in this category. In fact, I'm reading a book right now I would highly recommend. It's called Exactly What to Say for Real Estate Agents. Go ahead and look that up if you haven't. It's a phenomenal read. I actually made a video a while back on books I'd recommend real estate agents read. Now that I'm reading this one, I would definitely add that one to the list. It's so good. And if you took away just some of the questions and dialogues that are shared there, it can absolutely transform the results you have in the conversations you're already having with people. But bottom line is active lead generation, prospecting for listings, probably making phone calls to do that, but could also be door knocking. There's a few ways to go about active lead generation. But second way to generate more listings is farming, aka mailers. So it's picking a specific neighborhood that you want to target, that you want to take listings in, and mailing the homeowners, really staying top of mind with them that way. And so key thing is one area you want to sell in. It would be good if there is little to no competition in it, because some neighborhoods already have multiple realtors sending mailers. Others have little to no one doing it. Also, you can look at what the turnover rate is in a neighborhood. Like for instance, you probably don't want to do this in a newer construction neighborhood, because it's probably, the homes were just built probably a few years out until they start turning over in any significant way. But on the flip side, if it's an established neighborhood, it might have an unusually high turnover rate for whatever reason. On the flip side, it's kind of funny, but there are some areas that, maybe was developed like, let's say 20 years ago. Maybe the turnover rate's super low, but there might come a point in time where that changes and maybe you could get in front of it. But regardless of what you want to look, how you want to look at it, I'd say number one thing is it's an area you want to sell in. But the most important thing with this one is your copy, meaning what message are you sending on your marketing piece? Because a lot of agents are doing the same thing, sending recipes, calendars, stuff like that. I'm not saying that adds no value, but there are more powerful messages that could potentially be shared out there to get a higher engagement rate with the homeowner, because that's the goal. Is you want them in the split second that they see that, because it's likely going in the garbage, but you want them at the right moment to see something that draws their attention, that gets them on the phone or reaching out with you. So what could that be? So think about what your copy is. It's like ad copy, but what is your marketing message to them that they're seeing? And you got to understand that, especially for the first few months, it's likely that you'll see little to no traction, even if you have great copy, because they're seeing you for the first time. Part of this is going to come with familiarity over the course of time, seeing you be consistent with it. Third strategy is like what I just said, except the online version of it. So let's call it online farming. Again, you want to target an area you want to sell in, and copy is your most important thing. What is your marketing message? Because that's going to be the difference between them responding and not responding. So you got to have a compelling copy for your advertisement, and it's got to be something that really compels them to actually want to respond and reach out to you. And just like the mailers, this is also going to come in a major way with familiarity over the course of time. You can't just run a week's worth of ads and expect it to do anything. Most people that would ever respond, they're going to have to see you over and over and over and over again, gain familiarity, have their mind thinking in terms of whatever the copy and message is that's sparking their curiosity. Better yet, if you find a way to add some value for free to them along the way, that helps you build that trust and authority when it comes time that they might have a situation happening where they're thinking more of selling now than they were before, because that's more likely going to be the time they reach out. So a lot of this, if you're picking up what I'm saying, is being in front of people at the right time when they're thinking of taking a next step. Because if you're not in front of them at that moment, they're probably going to go with whoever was. So you either are or you aren't. So fourth way you can go about getting more listings is strategic relationships. So think, who is it in your local market that is connected with a disproportionately large number of sides happening per year on the sell side that's not personally handling them themselves? So for instance, builders, that's one example. Big builders usually have reps, they have people hired that help with this, but medium size, even smaller builders especially, they're usually working with someone on some level in the local market to facilitate that. So what builder relationships can you find? What flipper relationships can you find? People that are buying and selling a ton of homes in the local market area. And think of, hey, how can you go about finding those people? I could tell you right now, but like cash buyers, that's one of them. Like you pull data like this from the MLS. What cash sales have happened. And if you're looking through properties, sometimes it's easy to see which ones are probably something that's going to get flipped based on the pictures of what it looked like before at time of purchase, stuff like that. But home flippers is another one. Even attorneys that are dealing with probate, divorce, etc. Just situations that, even bankruptcy attorneys that could have to do with liquidation or the sale of homes, assets, stuff like that. But it's likely that people in that position have a handful of people in which they are referring business to. So how could you develop relationships like that? Get connected with more of those people. Like I said, forming those strategic relations and seeking out those people and becoming someone of value to them a big priority. Fifth way you can go about generating listings is to leverage your listings. This is provided that you already have some in the first place, but you'll get there if you're not already. But you want to especially use those listings and the results you're achieving from them to put your message out there in front of more people, because the more your message is seen, the more it could potentially help you get more listing opportunities in the pipeline. And some of the ways you can do that are social media, that's a big one, but also door knocking, going door to door, circle prospecting, calling the homeowners in the neighborhood, and leveraging that result you just had or that listing you just had come to market, whatever the case might be, because now you have authority as someone in the market who has a home for sale. You're bringing inventory to the market. You have more authority now when you're speaking with homeowners in that area, and you can leverage that. And like I said, also social media, it's something where people are seeing you deliver a result, especially if there was a specific result that was especially beneficial to the seller. That's something you want to share and put out there for others to see, because there might just be someone who has a friend, a mutual connection, whatever the case is, that would like a similar result, and to work with someone who's driven and hungry and really going about it the right way to get it done. And then also mailers, you can send mailers. It's kind of a lot of the stuff we already talked about, but just leveraging your own listings when you have one to do something additional on top of what you're already doing, if you're doing any of those things already. And then last but certainly not least is brokerage referrals. Within the right brokerage structure, there should be an opportunity for you to actually get more listings from the help of the actual brokerage and what they have in place to help their agents get more referral business. So for instance, that could be REO, bank-owned properties, institutional investors who maybe have a portfolio of properties they're selling, relocation referrals, people that are being corporately relocated, even PCSs, military relocations, permanent change of station, stuff like that. But there are companies out there that have these big relationships that are wanting to send it to as many of their agents as possible who are getting involved with that kind of business. So do you have that opportunity where you're at? Because honestly, if you don't, you are leaving money on the table. I can tell you the brokerage I operate with, which is the largest independent brokerage in the United States, sells more houses than any other company out there. We have opportunities like this, and it's leading to thousands and thousands and thousands of closed deals per year that are being sent directly to our agents through the actual brokerage. So crazy enough, but that can make a dent in somebody's goals for the year. If their goal is to list more properties, what could it mean if there were a few more opportunities per year, to say the least, that they otherwise wouldn't have through one of these larger relationships that the brokerage went out and established and now is sending that business to the agents with. So put yourself in a position where you have opportunities like that if you don't already. And those are the ways to go about generating listings. I know we didn't dive deep on any, but the whole point is to get you thinking and looking at which of these do you want to start diving into more. The more you dive into it, honestly, the more you take action upon it, the sooner you're going to really learn the ins and outs, how to go about it in an effective way. But the biggest thing is you commit to it, you follow through, put your best foot forward for at least 12 months, be detached from the outcome, but know that you're going to do everything that you possibly can to make sure that you're putting the work in, and then see what it leads to over the course of time, and even build upon it as time goes on. Because if you put your message in front of people consistently and you're constantly in contact with homeowners all throughout the time, it's inevitable there's going to be people that need someone like your help when it comes time. And if your message is dialed in, they're going to pick up the phone and call someone. It's probably going to be the person who has the best messaging and is in front of them when that time comes. So why not be you? Make sure it's you, and make sure you did everything you possibly could have for that to be the case. But that's how you go from a buyer's agent to a listing agent. Get more opportunities locked in. And at this point, let me tell you, if there's anything I can possibly do to help you now or in the future, go ahead and send me an email. If anything I spoke on, if you'd like to dive deeper on and see kind of what other resources and help I can bring to the table with it, I'm open to having a conversation. I help people take their business from zero to top producer, even in their first year in the business. And I help others that have been in the industry for years on end with little to no traction, turn that ship around and get to a point where they're very consistently closing business month in and month out. And so if you're committed to this, if you're serious about it, I'd love to connect more and see what I can do to bring more to the table to help you grow in the direction you'd like to go in this industry. And beyond that, if you got value out of this video, all I would ask is that you hit that subscribe button so that I can continue to share more tips and resources with you in the time ahead. That being said, thank you for watching the video. Until next time, I'll look forward to seeing you on the next video.